Hello everybody. Today we will going to learn about how the fluctuating stresses can be calculated and what are the methods to find them. So at the starting I want to tell you that more than 80% of the mechanical component failures are due to fluctuating stress. And in that the first slide will be shown on the desktop, and we have KT, which is stress concentration, theoretical stress concentration factor, which can be defined by the ratio of allowable stress to the elementary or direct stress. Allowable stress can be found right by given below, or KT is equal to sigma max upon sigma O, tau max upon tau. So sigma max will be the allowable stress, and it will be given by the ultimate tensile strength upon factor of safety. For shear stress, it will be calculated by yield tensile strength upon factor of safety. And the sigma O and tau. Sigma O is the, for example, I am taking bending stress. So bending stress is equal to 32 into bending moment upon pi into dq. For torsional shear stress, we have 16 torque upon pi dq. Then in the next slide we have notch factor. Notch factor can be founded on the any mechanical component if there is any irregularity in the cross section. For example, if we have a hole or a corner in which a dent is there, so at there we must find a notch factor, because the stress concentration will be maximum at that point. So for that, Q will be a notch factor, and it will be defined in the form of actual stress concentration to the theoretical stress concentration, which will further goes to mathematical expression as Kf minus 1 upon Kt minus 1. As you know, Kt will be the theoretical stress concentration factor and Kf is the actual stress concentration factor. So the next one is endurance limit of the component. So the endurance limit of the component will be the maximum strength the material can have or component can have, that it can be sustain the failure. So it will be shown by Se is equal to Ka into Kb into Kc into Kd into Ac dash. Ac dash will be the endurance limit of the standard specimen, and it will be given by 0.5 of ultimate tensile strength. Ac dash is equal to 0.5 Ac2, and in that equation we have Ke, Kb, Kc and Kd. So what is meant by Ke, Kb, Kc and Kd? These are the factors which represent shape factor, temperature factor, load factor, etc. So again from SE we can further derive many formulas. For example, reverse shear stress, which is denoted by SSE, is equal to 0.577 SE. And next will be axial stress. The axial stress will be given by SEA. So SEA is equal to 0.8 SE. So in this way we can calculate these all factors. In the next slide we have SN diagram for the infinite life of component. So for that we have graph. On the y-axis we have stresses, on the x-axis we have life of the component in the form of 10 raised to n degree. So as we can see that on the y-axis we have 3 component: log to the base 10, 0.9 SET, common log of SF and common log of SE. SET will be the ultimate tensile strength, SF will be the reverse bending strength, and AC will be the endurance limit of that component. So on the y-axis we have strengths, and on the x-axis we have 10 to the power n life. So 10 raised to 3, 10 raised to 4, 10 raised to 5 up to 10 raised to 7. In this way we can calculate, or we also a direct formula in the form of this as shown on the slide. So common log 0.9 SUT minus common log endurance limit strength upon 10 raised to 6 minus 10 raised to 3 is equal to common log of SF minus common log of endurance limit upon the life of those component 10 raised to 4 minus 10 raised to 3. So from this formula we can directly calculate, and the SF will be calculated in the next that is sigma reverse bending is equal to SF upon factor of safety. So from this equation we can find SF, and after finding SF we can take that SF into the direct formula or double point formula, and in this way we can calculate any of the stresses in the equation. And then also from the past slide we can calculate further the tau axial means axial torsional axial shear stress is equal to reverse bending stress upon factor of safety, and in the axial stress normal stress is equal to axial endurance limit upon factor of safety. So we will go to the next slide. In the next slide we have failure curves from which we can determine the factor of safety for particular component, and we have three criteria for that. We have Gerber, Goodman and Solderberg criteria. So on the slide we have on the y-axis endurance limit, on the x-axis we have ultimate tensile strength and yield tensile strength. So here we have a trick for remembering Gerber and Goodman. For Gerber and Goodman we have SUT and SUT common on the denominator, and for Solderberg we have yield tensile strength. So for Gerber criteria we can get factor of safety from sigma A upon AC plus in bracket sigma M upon SUT bracket square is equal to 1 upon factor of safety square. So here we can see that in the equation we have SUT in the denominator, Goodman criteria in this way sigma A upon AC plus sigma M upon SUT. In this equation also we have SUT in the denominator, and in the Gerber criteria we have SUT in the denominator. The only difference will be the power. The power is 2 for Gerber and the power is 1 for Goodman criteria. The next one is the Solderberg criteria. For Solderberg criteria we have sigma A upon SE plus sigma E sigma M upon SYT. So here in the denominator we have yield tensile strength instead of ultimate tensile strength is equal to 1 upon factor of safety. The most useful criteria will be the Solderberg criteria because it will give the correct value of factor of safety because it is safe and it is inside the curve. It is not beyond the curve or in the failure region. So for solving any type of component and finding the factor of safety for particular component, we should select Solderberg criteria. And on the right hand side we have sigma A, that means amplitude stress is equal to sigma 1 minus sigma 2 upon 2, and for mean direct stress is equal to sigma 1 plus sigma 2 upon 2. So in this way this slide also explained. On the next slide we have graphs of the cycle of stresses. So here we can remember them as the fluctuating stress will be on the topmost side of the diagram. The repetitive stress is connected with the x-axis and the reverse stress will be on the x-axis. So in this we can see that sigma max in the fluctuating stress and sigma mean in the fluctuating stress can have positive amplitude and in repetitive stress we have sigma max and sigma mean will be 0 in repetitive stress. That is a remembering fact, that the sigma mean will be 0 in the repetitive stress, and sigma mean will be maximum in the fluctuating stress. And the third one is reverse stress. In the reverse stress, we have sigma max is positive, sigma max will be positive and sigma mean will be negative, or we can see that both of them can be 0. So amplitude will be negative or positive in the way, so it will call as reverse stress. So how can we find amplitude of stress, mean of stress, amplitude of shear stress, mean of shear stress? So it can be calculated by using a von Neumann theory. So in the following in the following image we can see that the theory used is von Neumann theory. So sigma square is equal to half of difference between the stresses, and finally 6 into square of shear stresses of the adjacent planes. So for two-dimensional problem given on the image, we have sigma z is equal to 0 and tau xy is equal to tau yz is equal to tau zx. So after putting these values in von Neumann theory, we can calculate our final equation, which will be in the form of sigma is equal to under root sigma x square minus sigma x into sigma y plus sigma y square plus thrice of tau xy square. So by using this result, we can find sigma m and sigma a, which is mean stress and amplitude stress. So thank you for watching and keep subscribing my channel.
What a thanda kind of it.